I awakened the world's only 6S rank contract talent, but I was still deemed a useless waste by the Academy. This is because my ability allows me to form contracts with any living creature, regardless of level, and freely control their body and soul. While powerful, this ability has a glaring weakness. The creature being contracted must willingly consume the contract gem with full awareness. Even the slightest soul resistance renders the contract void. But what creature would willingly surrender their life to another's control? Seeing my despair, my childhood friend Su Jingyao tried to comfort me. Wei Dao, don't give up so soon. The world is vast, there must be a creature willing to let you control them. I gave a hollow laugh. Easy for you to say. Besides myself, who would be willing? Wait, myself? An idea sparked. I grabbed a contract gem and swallowed it whole. If I could perfectly control myself, wouldn't that be the legendary 100% physical control? After swallowing the crystal, my body changed subtly. Green gas, visible only to me, drifted into the air. Su Jingyao anxiously asked if I was all right. I smiled and shook my head. Don't do that again. It's scary. Relieved, he sighed and turned towards the dormitory. He was joining the exploration team the next morning. Joining the exploration team to protect our home had always been his dream. Due to my useless ability, the school assigned me the occupation of farmer, so future meetings would likely be rare. He glanced back at me as he left, a hint of reluctance in his eyes. It felt a little sad to part ways like this. I wanted to give him a hug. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, my body moved on its own and embraced him tightly. Moments later, a blushing Su Jingyao pushed me away, mumbled, "Take care," and ran back to the dorm. I stood there, lost in thought. My body had just moved unconsciously and hugged him. Was this me subconsciously commanding myself? I needed to determine the extent of my control. After some experimentation, I concluded that I could make my body perform almost any action, as long as it was within human limitations. I couldn't fly or transform into other species. Moreover, I could perform actions I hadn't practiced before, seemingly drawing on memory. Theoretically, as long as I was physically capable, I could master any martial art. Increasing my physical abilities would directly increase my power. But there was one more question to verify. The next day arrived quickly. Before going to sleep, I commanded myself to wake up at 4 a.m. to run. While my consciousness slept, my body acted on its own, like sleepwalking. When I woke up at 6 a.m., I was already sitting in the cafeteria. Seeing this, a smile crept onto my face. As I suspected, my body could execute commands even unconsciously. Hoping no one noticed me, I looked around. Suddenly, a commotion erupted nearby. Luo Shiyu is here. Luo Shiyu was the beauty of the neighboring class, and the school's sweetheart. She was adored by everyone, both male and female. I turned towards the noise and froze, my pupils constricting. In my memory, Luo Shiyu was a slender, beautiful girl. But before me stood a 2-meter-tall, upright fox. She had a human girl's face plastered on her forehead, standing brazenly amidst the crowd. Yet, everyone seemed oblivious, gazing at her adoringly. "Zhangping, good morning." The giant fox greeted me in a hoarse voice as she passed. "Are you all right? Are you sick?" I mentally commanded myself to stay calm and nodded nonchalantly. "Good morning, Luo Shiyu. I had a nightmare last night and didn't sleep well. I have class. I have to go." I stood up and left the cafeteria as usual. Why was there a mutated beast in the school? Did no one notice? Was I hallucinating? I needed to report this to a teacher. I rushed to the faculty room, but through the doorway, I saw one of the teachers was also a fox wearing a human skin. I calmly walked past the faculty room without seeking help. It seemed even the teachers couldn't be trusted. The human skins worn by the two mutated beasts were old, indicating they'd been lurking in the school for a while. But before swallowing the contract gem, like most students, I hadn't realized Luo Shiyu and the teacher were mutated beasts. This change must have stemmed from the gem. What would happen if I swallowed another one? I grabbed another contract gem and swallowed it. This time, I felt a surge, an elevation. Opening my eyes, the world seemed brighter, more vibrant. Looking at the ground, I saw a patch of illusory blood. A prompt echoed in my mind. Identification in progress. Identification successful. Playback initiated. A horrific scene unfolded before me, a giant fox in human skin devouring someone's head. Had I awakened an appraisal skill? I looked at my hand. It seemed I had. Identification. Summon, Zhangping. Master, Zhangping. Race, human. Potential, 3 stars. Lifespan, 89. Contract Gem LV1. Consume stamina and mental energy to condense contract gems. Once a target willingly accepts a gem, their life, soul, and consciousness are controlled by the summoner, but they also gain the summoner's potential and luck. Absolute command. You have absolute control over the summon. Your commands cannot be disobeyed. Absolute obedience. You absolutely obey the summoner's commands, executing them faithfully. Appraisal. Beginner view target stats. Appraisal success rate is related to the difference in strength. This talent came out of nowhere. Was it related to the second gem? With this question in mind, I returned to class. Analyzing the situation, I was both my own summon and summoner. I was only controlled by myself, immune to external mental interference, thus rendering illusions ineffective. This allowed me to see through the mutated beast's disguises. These mutated beasts were Tianchong tigers, high-level ones. I was only level 1, no match for them. The Tianchong tigers possessed a terrifying skill called cognitive distortion, allowing them to eat people in plain sight while appearing to have a normal conversation. After lunch, I left school, having already prepared an excuse to visit Su Jingyao at the exploration team headquarters and assess the number of mutated beasts in the city. I spotted many Tianchong tigers strolling casually down the street, even engaging in seemingly normal conversations. 2 hours later, I arrived at the exploration team headquarters. "Excuse me, I'm looking for someone," I asked at the reception desk. A Tianchong tiger with a hoarse voice replied, "Hello, who are you looking for?" I calmly answered, "Su Jingyao. You should have reported here today." The Tianchong tiger nodded and checked the records. I waited in the hall. Shortly after, a Tianchong tiger wearing Su Jingyao's face approached me. "Zhang Ping, what are you doing here?" I smiled. "Just worried you wouldn't adjust to the exploration team. How's it going?" The Tianchong tiger gestured to the others behind him. "It's great. These are my teammates. They're all taking good care of me. I'll work hard to get stronger so I can hunt mutated beasts and avenge my parents. By the way, we're short-handed. Want me to recommend you to the exploration team?" I quickly declined. "Seems like you're settling in well. I won't bother you any longer." I turned and left, dejected. "Goodbye, Su Jingyao." Outside, I clenched my fists in anger. This was a joke. The exploration team, supposedly the strongest in Mingzhu City, was completely annihilated. Su Jingyao, who just joined today, was already dead. It seemed the Tianchong tigers had infiltrated not just the school, but the entire city. Everyone in Mingzhu City was their livestock. I entered a nearby restaurant with a view of the exploration team headquarters. I spent the afternoon gathering information before leaving. Using appraisal, I discovered that Tianchong tigers were classified into beginner, intermediate, advanced, and apex levels. Most were intermediate or advanced, but the exploration team, with numerous advanced awakeners, was no match for them. The one that killed Luo Shiyu was powerful. My intuition told me that using appraisal on it would expose my location, indicating it was likely an apex, or even king level, being. The other Tianchong tiger's ability to defeat higher-level awakeners must be due to its influence. Unlike ordinary mutated beasts, Tianchong tigers were highly intelligent and deceptive. They maintained a facade of peaceful coexistence with humans, but it was just a facade. They prioritized targeting those with strong potential or high social standing, while the rest were kept as reserve food. Direct confrontation was suicidal. But I couldn't stand idly by and watch innocent people die. If only I could become stronger. A week passed. Consistent training raised my level. Besides training, I kept generating and consuming gems, hoping to gain new abilities or talents like before. But after awakening appraisal, the generated gems were colorless and had no effect. Today, however, one had color. I tossed it into my mouth, chewed, and swallowed. Suddenly, everything went silent, as if the world lost all sound. After a while, the sounds of crickets and birds returned. I immediately appraised myself and found a new talent, Nightwalker. It granted night vision, significantly reduced presence at night, increased movement speed, decreased weight, and granted complete invisibility in shadows. The contract gem also leveled up. Was it linked to my level? Could I awaken a new talent with each level up? Wouldn't that make me invincible? I couldn't wait to train and test the new talent. It was past 4 a.m., still dark. I was the only one running on the track. Nightwalker enhanced my vision beyond daytime levels. A ring on the ground caught my eye. It was a dark silver ring, seemingly dropped by someone. The material didn't appear precious, but the craftsmanship was exquisite, the intricate patterns unlike ordinary decorations. I tried appraising it. failing repeatedly. After over 10 attempts, I finally identified its properties, assassination ring. Wearing it caused all living beings to subconsciously ignore the wearer. Advanced awakeners and above were immune. With the successful appraisal, a scene replayed before my eyes. A man in white, wearing a black mask, fought Luo Shiyu on the track. The man was clearly outmatched, losing 3 fingers and being cut in half. Luo Shiyu was an orphan and, given her personality, unlikely to have enemies. There was only one possibility: someone else was fighting these monsters in Mingzhu City. Lost in thought, I heard a hoarse Tianchong tiger voice. "Who's there?" The Tianchong tiger jumped onto the track and sniffed the ground. The scent was mixed, but it could discern the time each scent was left. After searching, it subconsciously ignored one particular scent, finding nothing. No scent? Impossible. I must inform His Highness. Using Nightwalker, I hid and watched the Tianchong tiger leave, breathing a sigh of relief. Was this ring bait? Regardless, I had already picked it up. Deliberately placing it back would be suspicious. I kept it. Back in the dorm at 5:30 a.m., the assassination ring made me realize that strength wasn't limited to physical power. There were magical items in Mingzhu City, often crafted by blacksmiths, possessing special abilities. I decided to investigate their prices tonight. Suddenly, a voice echoed in my mind. "Zhang Ping, danger. Hide. They're coming." The voice was familiar. It was Su Jingyao's. Minutes later, Luo Shiyu strolled into the dorm. He circled the room, then stopped before me, looking down. The only sound was my steady breathing. Luo Shiyu's narrow fox eyes narrowed. He extended a claw towards my head, but stopped at the last moment, his expression unreadable. If this waste is a survivor, he would fight back. And I don't sense the ring. He retracted his claw. A Tianchong tiger behind him asked, perplexed, "Your Highness, why not kill him? He runs every morning, but not today. It's suspicious." Luo Shiyu shook his head indifferently. "It's not him. Don't waste food." The Tianchong tiger realized its mistake and lowered its head submissively. Half an hour later, I, seemingly asleep, abruptly opened my eyes. After confirming the Tianchong tigers were gone, I relaxed. That was close. I had forgotten about my morning runs. Luckily, I had commanded my body to feign sleep, avoiding suspicion. I thought I heard Su Jingyao's voice. Was it my imagination? I went to the cafeteria as usual. Students were discussing Black Death Star's death near the school. Black Death Star was a notorious assassin, willing to kill anyone for the right price, even the city lord. It was rumored he injured the previous city lord, leading to his death from complications. Was Black Death Star the man in white who attacked Luo Shiyu? Even the top assassin was easily killed. Luo Shiyu's power was truly unfathomable. Publicly displaying the body was likely a warning to those who opposed the Tianchong tigers. They would surely increase their guard. I needed to visit the blacksmiths immediately. After school, I observed a nearby blacksmith shop. The owner was a Tianchong tiger. All the blacksmiths in the city seemed to be controlled. "Young man, come take a look," the owner called. I waved him off. I needed to find an uncontrolled shop. Half an hour later, I found a weapon shop called Soul of Iron. It had few customers, mostly adventurers. The owner was human. Inside, a man in his 30s held a thin sword. "This is high-quality merchandise. I'll give you a rock-bottom price if you're interested." The elderly owner seemed absent-minded. He took a puff from his pipe and spoke slowly. "What did you say?" "My daughter is waiting for me for dinner." The young man with the sword was exasperated by the nonsensical reply. I walked over and appraised the sword. Dingzhuli's single-handed sword, of ordinary quality, a weapon more for show than use, and once broken and poorly repaired. A young man, seeing it, immediately flew into a rage and tried to snatch it. With a snap, the thin sword broke in two. "Damn it! Ruining my good thing. Do you know who I am? I'm a direct disciple of Master Ma of the Xingyi Martial Arts School. Take this." Lightning 5 strikes. With a yell, he lunged at me like a treasure hunter, but having just leveled up, I smacked him back with a single blow. Appraisal. Name, Lu Babwa. Growth value, 1 star. Talent, shockingly earth-shattering overbearing Yuan Qi. Using any skill will come with intense special effects, but only visible to the user. Overuse will cause the user to become immersed in their own world, unable to extricate themselves. Is this guy here for comic relief? I ignored him, focused on the dark blue, but he took the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. I caught him and knocked him to the ground with one punch. A woman's voice came from outside. "How long have I been gone?" The shop's become so lively. Are you going to leave on your own? Or do I have to give you a ride? Seeing the woman's fierce appearance, Lu Babwa panicked and scrambled away. I was just about to leave too when she stopped me. Don't go. Let's talk. I asked her what she wanted to talk about. Chio Chang smiled slightly and said, I'm a single, weak woman, working hard every day just to live, and I also have to take care of my uncle, who's become confused since his daughter went missing. I see you're strong and seem like a good person. Why don't you stay here and be a blacksmith? Take care of old man Lu Taifeng. Help look after the shop. Room and board included, plus a salary. If I learned blacksmithing, it would save me a lot of money on equipment in the future. And this shop didn't seem to be controlled by Tianchong Hu. Thinking this over, I agreed. All right, I'm the man who will become the blacksmith king. A few days later, in the blacksmith shop, Chio Chang instructed me to put the iron ingots and materials into the furnace fire, while reaching in and quickly stirring the fire. It looked less like forging a weapon and more like kneading dough. Many of these materials need to be mixed by hand, so this weapon forging method is also called dough kneading forging. Then she went to get the mold and left me to operate, only telling me not to let the fire go out. I nodded and added all the materials in, but I didn't expect to add too much. The blazing flames suddenly exploded. I felt a burning pain in my stomach and couldn't help but gasp, and as I inhaled, the flames from the furnace were sucked out of the furnace and into my nose like a stream of water. The warm flames flowed down my throat and into my heart. Having absorbed too much heat, the fire in the furnace went out. I clutched my chest and hurriedly checked my status. Ding! Sword forging successful. Summon Beast, Zhangping, level 3, growth value, 4 stars. I also gained a new ability, Fire Eater, which allows me to absorb flames and convert them into fire elemental energy stored within my body, and I can release this energy at any time until it's depleted. Just as I was checking, Chio Chang hurried in and asked what had happened. Wait, you didn't throw the red-scaled serpent spirit into the furnace, did you? That thing explodes. It's my fault, I forgot to tell you. I scratched my head awkwardly and offered to pay for the damage to the room. Chio Chang laughed and said it wasn't necessary, as long as I was all right. The materials fused so well. This requires extremely high temperatures. You really have a talent, kid. The school really misjudged you. With your current performance, the 3 major organizations would be more than happy to have you. I was a little curious and asked what the 3rd organization was, since everyone always referred to the patrol and investigation teams as the 2 major organizations. Chio Chang simply said she didn't know what it was called or what it did. Then she gave me the weapon I had just forged. The weapon was called Beauty Slayer, made of iron, and could easily damage ultimate mutated beasts. Based on market prices, it was worth about 100,000, equivalent to 3 years of my salary. Whoa, is this something someone with a 3,000 monthly salary like me can accept? Hearing this, Chio Chang chuckled. Consider it a reward for your progress. I have a mission, so I'll be going now. Take care of the old man. He's a bit confused, don't let him open for business. I nodded gratefully. Although this blacksmith shop hadn't been targeted by Tianchong Hu because it was often closed, the commotion just now might have attracted their attention. Taking advantage of the darkness, I used Nightwalker to patrol the surrounding area. I discovered a mutated beast disguised as a little girl. It was the first time I'd seen such a low-level Tianchong Hu, only level 3, like me. With my equipment, I should be able to defeat her. Thinking this, I picked up my weapon and quietly approached. Suddenly, a chill surged behind me, followed by an icy woman's voice. Are you planning to attack a child? Don't move, or I'll kill you. Give up any thoughts of attacking. If you don't want to die, come find me at the orphanage training ground. The chill behind me slowly receded. She didn't seem to be with Tianchong Hu, otherwise, I'd already be dead. I grew up in the orphanage and often practiced my clumsy fighting in the nearby park as a child, so I nicknamed it the orphanage training ground. This woman knew me, otherwise how would she know my secret? Not only that, she'd been watching me, which is why she stopped me just as I was about to attack. She lured me here for a reason. As I approached the park, I felt like I was being watched. There were other people in the woods. Then, a rat about the size of an adult house cat slowly emerged from behind a tree. It was a mutated beast. Appraisal successful. Mutated beast, armored poison-tailed rat. Race, mutated rat. Level 5. The bone spur at the end of its tail contains a deadly poison. This rat was 2 levels higher than me, but it seemed cautious, slowly retreating. Should I go back? No, if I don't deal with it now, The children from the orphanage might encounter it when they come to the park tomorrow. It's just a mutated beast. With the equipment Shio-chan gave me, I can win. After a brief analysis, I gripped my dagger and chose to take the initiative. I burst forward, like a hunter in the night. The armored poison-tailed rat didn't dodge or flinch, instead curling into a ball and quickly counterattacking. Its fur was extremely tough. Even though my dagger was incredibly sharp, it barely scratched after most of its force was deflected. After a stalemate, the armored poison-tailed rat backed away. Its crimson eyes stared at me as its tail continuously sprayed out several globs of venom. Although I didn't have much combat experience, I could command my summoned beast, Zhang Ping, to fight, just like giving commands in a game. I ordered him to dodge left and right, and through observation, I discovered that its eyes were its weak point, the only area not covered by armor. But its curled-up defense was tricky. I needed a way to break its posture. I had an idea. First, I commanded Zhang Ping to use Fish Chase Rat style, a powerful move that relied on overwhelming smaller enemies with size and strength. I attacked the armored poison-tailed rat's right side, and while it was curled up, I released my ignited fire elemental energy. Finally, when it uncurled to defend, I directly attacked its weak point, its eyes. With a swift thrust, the fight was over. After defeating the mutated beast, my level increased to 4. Actual combat was indeed faster than training for leveling up. Come to think of it, the appearance of this poison-tailed rat was a bit strange. Besides Tianchang-hu, there shouldn't be any other mutated beasts in the city. Just as I thought this, a black circle suddenly appeared beneath my feet. The moment I saw it, I tried to jump away, but the next second, I was pulled into the black circle. The black inside the circle wasn't the black of night, but a kind of nothingness. I could feel myself falling rapidly, but there was nothing I could do. After about 30 seconds, the falling stopped. My body was covered in a blue liquid, like a bodysuit that tightly wrapped around me, leaving only my head exposed. Before I could understand what was happening, a woman in white clothes and an ice mask appeared before me, holding an ice sword. As soon as I saw her, she held the sword to my neck, and the chill radiating from the blade instantly sobered me up. A familiar voice came from the woman. You have 5 minutes to prove you're human. Prove I'm human? I'm human. How do I prove it? Had she also discovered the mutated beast lurking in the city but couldn't differentiate them, so she was making me prove myself? Could the poison-tailed rat have been a test? Can I have a hint? Looking at the woman before me, I felt a headache coming on. The woman remained silent, waiting for my proof. I thought for a moment and decided to try using appraisal on her. Ding. Appraisal failed. Appraisal failed. Appraisal failed. After a series of failures, finally, after 2 minutes, appraisal successful. Name, Lucisan. Race, human. Faction, sweepers. Potential, 5 stars. Level 21. Talent, water element manipulation. Can freely manipulate stored water elemental energy. She was strong. No wonder it was so difficult to appraise her. Sweepers? I'd never heard of that. Could it be the third major organization besides the patrol and investigation teams? I didn't dwell on it, as the most important thing now was to prove I was human, not a mutated beast. She called this small park a training ground, so she was probably from the orphanage like me. But I didn't remember anyone named Lu Sison at the orphanage. If she was from there, she must have changed her name. I tentatively listed all the names with the surname Lu. Are you Lu Turin? Lu Isho? Lu Shueshing? Lu Xingyu? Lu Cece? When I said that last name, she visibly faltered. So she was Lu Cece. I remembered she was 3 years older than me. When I entered Mingzhu Ability Academy, she had already graduated and joined the investigation team. I'd practiced martial arts with Lu Cece for a few days when I was little. Back then, she seriously taught me the heaven and earth-shattering Cece Invincible Fist. I actually believed her. The first move is Ha. The second is He. The third is Ha-He. Heaven and earth-shattering Cece Invincible Fist. I recited the mantra of the fist technique Lu Cece had taught me years ago to prove I was human. The usually calm and collected Lu Sison was instantly embarrassed. She looked at me and said, Second question. According to our investigation, your ability is Contract Gem, and it was evaluated as useless grade because it couldn't meet the activation conditions. So why has your behavior been so unusual lately? I answered truthfully. 2 weeks ago, I consumed the Contract Gem and became a summon beast, and I'm only controlled by myself. Therefore, I'm immune to the illusions of mutated beasts and can see through their disguises. According to my recent investigation, there are a large number of Tianchonghu hiding in the city. I suspect a clan has invaded Mingzhu City. Their inherent racial ability is cognitive distortion. Lu Sisan asked me suspiciously if what I said was true. I slowly added, the owner of Wancheng Breakfast Shop, the owner of Jiawan Furniture, the 3 blacksmiths at Longqiang Weaponry. These are all low-level Tianchonghu. You can verify this. Lu Sisan pondered for a moment, looked at me, and then pressed her communicator, relaying my words to her teammates. Mingjiao Jinbo's teammates said, there have never been any mutated beasts called Tianchonghu near Mingzhu City. However, the abilities of cognitive distortion and reality warping have appeared before. We've already sent people to capture the nearest 2. They should be back soon. Just as he finished speaking, a loud explosion rang out. The captured breakfast shop owner went berserk. Jinbo stepped forward and punched the woman in the chest. As the woman died, the disguised Tianchonghu revealed its true form. At the same time, in the academy, the resting Luo Shiyu suddenly opened his eyes. A Tianchonghu asked what was wrong. Luo Shiyu scanned his surroundings and said, Yu Jiao is dead. Someone killed Yu Jiao. He kicked off the ground and soared into the air. He suddenly sensed another Tianchonghu being killed. To be able to kill so quickly and then immediately mask their aura to avoid my detection. Who is it? The enraged Luo Shiyu roared, and a terrifying wave of energy spread out like a strong wind. At that moment, in the dark room, Lu Sisan received confirmation from her teammates. She released the restraints on me and said, although the results have been verified, we can't be certain that your discovery of the Tianchonghu isn't a trap set by the enemy. So, I apologize, but you can only act as an informant. Aside from providing the locations of the Tianchonghu, we won't have much contact for the time being. I'll be protecting you from the shadows for a while. You can contact me at night if you find anything. Hearing this, I smiled. Protection and surveillance, I got it. Don't worry, I'll cooperate. As long as the Tianchonghu problem could be solved, everything else was fine. Lu Sisan then tossed me a jade pendant, which I could use to notify her in case of danger, and generously gave me 10,000 Mingzhu coins. Time quickly passed to the next day. As soon as I walked out of the blacksmith shop, I saw a young girl in martial arts clothing handing out flyers. Learning boxing? She asked. Anyone want to learn hunting king fist? Curiously, I took a flyer. Basic fist techniques cost 500 pearl coins to start, while the hunting king fist, ultimate technique, cost 9,999 pearl coins. This fee was really quite expensive, and I didn't know if it was suitable for me. It's absolutely worth the price, the girl insisted. Our hunting king fist techniques are quite famous in Pearl City. If you don't believe me, I can demonstrate. The girl, Lianmang, got into a stance and demonstrated the first 3 forms of hunting king fist: ape king form, giant crocodile form, and phoenix claw form. I stood by and used my ability to begin learning them directly. The hunting king fist, whether in its footwork or its forms, was much more powerful than bright fist. It was indeed a good martial art. Hunting king fist movements were varied and formless. However, Lianmang's execution was clearly not skilled enough to fully demonstrate its power. As I helped her up, several burly men approached. Who allowed you hunting king fist people to hand out flyers here? Hearing this, Lianmang apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't know I couldn't distribute them here. What's so good about learning a third-rate martial art like hunting king fist? One of the men scoffed. I suggest you come to our Shingi boxing gym instead. A yellow-haired young man walked over as he spoke. Isn't this 5-time Neither Lightning? Hearing my taunt, Lu Baohua and the others' atmosphere immediately changed. We haven't settled the score with you from the blacksmith shop incident last time, he said. Today's just the right time. Xiongda, Xiong get him. Yanmang, don't let them bully him. Lianmang shielded me behind her. Taking advantage of this opportunity, I immediately activated appraisal. Ding. Name, Xiongda, Xiong race, human, growth, 1 star, level, 4, talent, physical enhancement, 70% intelligence reduction in exchange for increased physical strength, skill, perseverance, 90% intelligence. Any skill can be improved through persistent training, with growth speed increasing by 10% for each consecutive day of the same type of training. I was a bit surprised. I didn't expect this Wang Jimin to be a true late bloomer. However, with his current strength, trying to help me was just asking for trouble. This is my business. I'll handle it myself, I said. Wang Jimin was worried that I would be at a disadvantage facing 3 people. I chuckled and said, didn't you just demonstrate hunting king fist? I can use them to practice. The two burly men lunged first. I commanded my body to quickly enter combat mode. Every move Wang Jimin had demonstrated was perfectly replicated by me. 3 seconds later, 3 disheveled figures lay on the ground. "Let's go," I said. "Take me to the Hunting Kingfish gym to sign up." Wang Jimin only came to his senses after hearing my voice. "You're so amazing. You learned it just by watching once," he exclaimed. "Then, if I don't understand any moves in the future, can you teach me? With your help, I can definitely become strong quickly." Hearing this, I smiled and nodded, silently saying in my heart, "You have 7-star potential. In the future, you'll at least be a high-level awakened, and you might even become a top-level awakened. Maybe I'll be the one asking for your help someday." After registering at the martial arts gym, I returned to the blacksmith shop. Soon it was time for the next day's class. A burly instructor, probably in his 40s or 50s, opened the door and walked in. In fact, most physically enhanced awakened ones were robust and muscular. This instructor had a bushy beard and wolf-like eyes. When he opened his mouth, I could see his canine teeth. "Attention! Wrong posture, 50 laps." As he spoke, I activated appraisal, name, Baida, race, human, affiliation, Hunting Kingfish Gym, potential, 1 star, level, 25, talent, decapitation replenishment, gradually changes physique through food. Currently has preserved rushing wolf form and berserk lion form. He was strong. Judging from his attributes alone, he could almost rival Lucis on. Baida looked around and came to me. "You're the kid who helped teach those Shingy boxing guys a lesson yesterday, right?" I nodded and replied, "Yes." "Kid, watch this," Baida warned before swinging his fist at me. I had no time to speak and could only command my body to keep dodging. "Kid, I heard you learned the original Ape King form of Hunting Kingfish just by watching it demonstrated once," Baida said, retracting his fist after a few probing strikes. "Haha, I didn't believe it before, but now I do. It's a pity that the person who demonstrated it for you is a half-baked amateur. Some of the footwork is miles off. I'll correct it for you later." I clasped my hands and thanked him. Baida then turned to the others. "Next, it's time to test whether you've been slacking off. Line up and spar with me. Those who don't meet the standard will do 500 push-ups and a 10-kilometer weighted run." Wang Jimin quietly tugged at me. "The instructor refused to teach me more, so after he corrects you later, can you teach me privately?" I nodded and said, "No problem. Come with me to the blacksmith shop after class. I'll be your sparring partner." A few days quickly passed. I would take the time to guide Wang Jimin whenever I could. I broke down the Ape King form into several small movements, having him practice one movement at a time. This was the only way to make it somewhat effective. "Hunting Kingfish really has something to it," Wang Jimin said. "After practicing these past few days, I vaguely feel that my level has improved." My uncle Qiangjie returned to the blacksmith shop after a few days of foraging. He leaned against the counter and sighed, "Damn, I almost got it this time. I don't know what the hell is going on. There are a lot fewer beasts and mutated beasts outside. We had to go deep into the northern forests and ended up encountering a pack of wolves, all mutated. Luckily, we had using our shovels and shields. The wolves couldn't find any prey, so they went to attack the nearby savages. I took the opportunity to get a good item from the wolves." As he spoke, he took out a green gem. I took the gem and used appraisal to examine it, discovering that it was a rare biological crystal that could store wind elemental energy. Through mental guidance, the wind elemental energy within the wind gem could be released to form attacks like wind blades or windstorms. As soon as I held the gem, I felt a coolness in my palm, and a faint wind emanated from it. I closed my eyes and carefully sensed the wind gem's touch, sensing its temperature. Suddenly, with a poof, many male and female voices flooded into my ears. My eyes widened slightly, and I immediately used appraisal on myself. Appraisal successful. Summon Beast, Zhang Ping, level 4, Contract Gem LV 4. Additional effect triggered, Awakened Talent, Wind and Rain Listener, randomly hears the voices of emotionally charged individuals within a 100-meter radius. Cannot be actively controlled. It really was a new talent, similar to the previous pyromancer. Before I could think further, 2 hoarse voices suddenly entered my ears. "You Lu, besides Wang Jimin, there's another male in that shop. That male seems to be the one who caused us trouble in the academy dormitory. He looks delicious. Let's eat them at noon today. I'll eat the boy, and you can have Wang Jimin." Hearing this, my heart sank, and I looked out the door. It was Tian Changgu. "Not good. We've been targeted." I immediately took out my jade token and sent a message to Lu Sisan, but I waited a long time with no response. Those two were ultimate Taiyan Changu. Even with Qiangjie's help, we had no chance of winning. To avoid endangering Qiangjie and Uncle Lu, I decided to take Wang Jimin and leave. In the backyard of the blacksmith shop, Wang Jimin was still practicing. I pulled him, wanting to leave through the back door, but it was too late. Two mutated beasts were already blocking the exit. "Where are you going?" Hearing this familiar voice, Wang Jimin asked in confusion, "Mom? Dad? What are you doing here?" "Zhang Ping, it's all right. They're my parents." I didn't speak. While blocking Wang Jimin, I quickly checked the information of the two Taiyan Changu. Ultimate Mutated Beast, level 16. The Taiyan Changu slowly approached, their eyes sizing us up like prey. "Mingming, who is this next to you? Why does he seem so afraid of us?" "He's a friend from my boxing gym." Just as he finished speaking, a black vortex suddenly rose from the ground. My face changed. Implied space. Great. As our figures gradually sank into the vortex, the two Taiyan Changu hurriedly lunged at us with their claws. In a moment of desperation, I hugged Wang Jimin and fell rapidly, but my back was still grazed by a claw. After landing on the implied ground, I quickly got up and looked warily at the two Taiyan Changu. The two Taiyan Changu reacted extremely quickly, pouncing on us the moment they landed. There was no way to dodge. This was the difference in level. I could only barely block with my dagger. The other Taiyan Changu attacked Wang Jimin. Just as he was about to be torn apart, Lu Sisan finally arrived. "Zhang Ping, move," he shouted. After warning me, he immediately activated his ability. In the next second, a blue ice blade flew like a necklace in a beautiful arc, piercing through the Taiyan Changu's chest in the blink of an eye. Lu Sisan wielded his long sword, slashing at the necks of the two Taiyan Changu. In that moment, the Taiyan Changu's expressions froze as they fell to the ground. Seeing his parents die in front of him, Wang Jimin completely broke down, muttering "Why?" over and over again. I sighed and explained, "They aren't your parents. They're just Taiyan Changu wearing your parents' skin. These two mutated beasts killed your parents and disguised themselves as them." The Taiyan Changu's human skin peeled away, revealing their hideous true forms. Seeing this scene, Wang Jimin was stunned in disbelief, tears streaming down his face. "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry," he sobbed. "If only I had noticed sooner." But what could he have done even if he had noticed? In the end, it was all because he was too weak. "I'm so useless, I can't even learn the simplest boxing techniques," he cried. Why did this happen to my parents? Why wasn't it me who died? I couldn't bear it and stepped forward to hug him, comforting him. "Listen, this isn't your fault," I said. "I'm the same as you. I also had someone very important to me killed by Taiyan Changu. I always wonder if the tragedy wouldn't have happened if I had stopped her from joining the patrol team that day. But I know in my heart that even if I could go back, the outcome wouldn't change. Joining the patrol team was her dream. No one could stop her. No one can change what is destined. Your parents' deaths aren't your fault, but you can change the future. You can become strong and protect the other important people in your life. I believe your parents, in heaven, will be happy for you. As for the monsters in the city, believe me, I will eliminate them all." Just as I said this, I suddenly felt a surge in my chest and coughed up blood, fainting. I had forced my body to hold on, but now that I relaxed, I suddenly felt a sense of exhaustion. At that moment, in the city lord's mansion, a large number of Taiyan Changu were gathered. The Taiyan Changu that had devoured Luo Shiyu sat in a seat, radiating a murderous aura. "9 of our brethren have died this week," he growled. "It seems that humans have found a way to break the illusion." A Taiyan Changu with a charming woman's face attached to its forehead said, "Your Highness, why don't we just kill all the humans and take over this city?" This was refuted by another Taiyan Changu with a fat man's face on its forehead. "Then what will we eat?" "Grass." The Taiyan Changu began to argue, the discussion quickly devolving into a shouting match. Luo Shiyu narrowed his eyes slightly, and a fierce aura enveloped the entire city lord's mansion. "Silence," he commanded. "Killing all humans is not realistic, and it's a waste of food. The top priority is to lure out those hiding in the shadows and eliminate them one by one. Does the Vice City Lord have any strategies?" Hearing this, the only human present, Vice City Lord Huang Zimin, said, "Your Highness, perhaps we can lure other races in, muddy the waters of Pearl City, and then focus on eliminating some of the stronger humans. The 3 organizations, besides the patrol team and investigation team, have another team that only the City Lord knew about. Wang seriously injured the City Lord before, and the City Lord escaped with his injuries, his whereabouts unknown. I suspect he is hiding in that organization. I'm certain he hasn't left the city. He must be waiting for us to reveal a weakness. The charming female Tianchanga chimed in, Your Highness, bringing in other races is a good idea. It would be a nice change of pace. Luo Shiyu nodded in agreement. However, Wang is still slumbering, he said. Although you have helped our race, if you dare to make any small moves, I will still kill you. I hope you understand your position. Huang Zemin hurriedly knelt and declared his loyalty, but a cold light flickered in his eyes, and the corners of his mouth gradually curled upwards. I have devoted my entire life to Pearl City, he said. It's a pity that the city lord is incompetent, and Pearl City has been slow to develop. I only hope that Pearl City can be taken over by a strong leader. At this time, I happened to wake up from my coma. I had overheard most of the Tianchanga meeting through wind and rain listener and naturally knew what was going on. So, I recounted the conversation to Lu Sison, who reported it to the organization. The Vice City Lord has betrayed humanity, he said. As for the king they mentioned, who can strengthen the group's illusion and make it undetectable even by top-level awakened ones, that must be the king of the Tianchanga. Since their king is slumbering, now is our chance to counterattack. Zhang Ping, he continued, we need you to help identify the Tianchanga. Not long after, at the Eradicator base, the higher-ups made a series of arrangements through a meeting. The first step was to activate the Phantom Light Curtain to divide Pearl City. The Phantom Light Curtain was a combination technique activated by the barrier groups Manny, Chunluo Wei, and Sujie. Manny's ability was Black Curtain, with advanced abilities Black Passage and Black Chamber. The implied space where Lu Sison and I met several times was provided by her. Qin Luowei's ability was Light and Shadow Phantom Point, with the advanced ability Dynamic Phantom Point, which could change the color of light and shadow. She usually worked with Manny, and besides maintaining the security of the Eradicator base, she occasionally provided invisibility abilities for Lu Sison. Sujie's ability was Solar Charging, with the advanced ability Energy Sharing. She was Manny and Chen Luowei's portable charger. The two of them could activate their abilities for long periods of time because they relied on Sujie to provide a massive amount of energy. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sustain it. Late at night, while most people were still asleep, an invisible black curtain slowly descended upon Pearl City, completely enveloping it in an instant. The Phantom Light Curtain could pull creatures below the king level into the Black Chamber space and could also freely modify the scenery within the space to confuse opponents. The next day, Pearl City continued to operate as usual, but no one realized that things had quietly changed. Two Tianchanga disguised as humans, Yui and Yu-Er, came to the streets. They were responsible for providing food for the other Tianchanga in the city lord's mansion and had to go out every day to select their prey. This wasn't usually difficult, but with human awakened ones lurking in the shadows, it had become dangerous. However, they were chosen for this task because of their strength. Yu-Er, walking down the road, suddenly stopped. He vaguely sensed something was wrong, but it was too late. The Phantom Light Curtain had already enclosed the two Tianchanga. Jinbo suddenly appeared, swinging his fist in a surprise attack. But the punch missed. The two Tianchanga were extremely fast, quickly creating distance and dodging to the side. The Tianchanga glared at Jinbo. How dare you attack us so openly in Pearl City, he growled. Aren't you afraid we'll call for reinforcements? Jinbo sneered. Why don't you try it? His ability was called Golden Blood. When activated, a large number of golden lightning patterns appeared on his body, and his hair stood on end, becoming golden and shiny. According to the intel, these two Tianchanga were level 25, which shouldn't be a problem for him at level 32. But unexpectedly, as soon as the fight began, Jinbo suffered a hidden loss. He clearly blocked the opponent's attack but was still inexplicably injured. Seeing this, Yui taunted him, Is that all you got? I really don't know how those other guys were killed. However, his gloating lasted only a second before Jinbo's fist slammed into his head. Yui was sent flying dozens of meters, crashing heavily into the concrete. Yu-Er, seeing this, lunged with his claws, but Jinbo ignored him, grabbing the Tianchanga's arm as if by instinct. I see, he said. Although I can't see you, I've figured out your general size. This ability is really strong for sneak attacks, but it's not enough for direct confrontation. Yu-Er, whose arm was broken, let out a painful scream. Seeing this, Yui leaped from a distance and pounced, but before he could get close, he was knocked back by Yu-Er, who was thrown at him. Jinbo sprang into the air, his left leg lifting and then thrusting downwards with force. Like a pool cue, he kicked the two Tianchonghu towards the ground. Why can't I sense my brethren? We've been tricked. The two Tianchonghu roared in despair. Jinbo began to punch furiously, as if venting all the anger he had accumulated during this time on them. Soon, both Tianchonghu had broken arms and shattered internal organs. Their entire bodies were battered beyond recognition. Lu Sison and I watched this scene quietly from a distance. Jinbo was indeed the leader of the combat group. His strength was truly impressive. A moment later, Lu Sison received instructions from her superior. Lu Sison, I'm failure. The mutated beasts outside the city are starting to gather and riot for unknown reasons. If they enter the city at this time, I'm afraid it will increase the burden on the Huangguang Tianmu, Radiant Sky Curtain. Go outside the city and investigate the situation. Take Zhangping with you. It's a good opportunity to train his practical combat skills. The Tianchong who he identified earlier has been recorded. I will arrange for the combat group to deal with them. Hearing this, I suddenly thought of Qiu Chongjie, Ball Snatch sister, encountering the storm gathering into groups. Could this be related? After ending the call, Lu Sison beckoned and left. I followed behind, curious. Was that a VIP just now? Lu Sison nodded. Yes, that's our leader. You'll meet him after the mission is over. Soon, I followed Lu Sison out of the city. This was the first time I had left the city in my life, and it didn't feel as dangerous as I had imagined. CCGA, what kind of plants are these? As I curiously examined the fiery red plants by the roadside, Lu Sison suddenly pulled me back sharply. Duck, it's dangerous. These are called hydrochloric acid grass. Their fruits are rich in hydrochloric acid and highly corrosive. After they ripen, they explode and shoot into the sky, then burst open midair, scattering seeds everywhere. Be very careful. In addition, there is a type of mutated beast that feeds on hydrochloric acid grass. Lu Sison pointed to a white rabbit not far away that was eating the grass. That's your first opponent. I'm going to investigate the mutated beast riot. Don't wander too far from here. I looked at the rabbit. Without a second thought, I used appraisal. Appraisal successful. Hydrowater bullet rabbit, elementary mutated beast, level 9, talent, hydrowater bullet, able to shoot highly corrosive hydrowater from hidden sweat glands in its ears. This rabbit looked harmless, but its level was higher than the poison mosquito rat. While it wasn't paying attention, I decided to strike first. After thinking it over, I abruptly threw my dagger towards the rabbit's back. However, the rabbit seemed to have eyes in the back of its head, dodging with a jump just as the dagger was about to hit. I ignited flames in both hands and lunged towards it. The hydrowater bullet rabbit quickly curled into a ball, spraying a large amount of green liquid from its ears. The liquid was like buckshot, fired at an extremely high rate, all of it hitting me. Then, the rabbit hopped and weaved through the hydrochloric acid grass, triggering many of the fruits. I quickly dodged while analyzing the situation. This rabbit was immune to the acid of the hydrochloric acid grass and very cunning. It first sprayed acid to prevent me from getting close, then deliberately led me to where the fruits were ripe. It wasn't easy to deal with. Wait, why didn't the acid corrode me? I clearly caught the rabbit's acid with my hand. Could it be because of the fire? At this moment, the rabbit launched another acid attack. I tentatively swept my left arm, flames surging out and instantly forming a wall of fire that blocked all the acid. As I suspected, the acid was vulnerable to fire, instantly evaporating from the heat. Seeing that its ranged attack was ineffective against me, the hydrowater bullet rabbit immediately showed a ferocious expression. Its speed suddenly increased, pouncing towards me in the blink of an eye for a close-range attack. I swung my dagger, constantly attacking and blocking, but I was still accidentally scratched, and its claws also had a corrosive effect. To avoid further corrosion, I had to release flames to cover my entire body, which caused my flame reserves to deplete quickly. I had to finish this quickly. I immediately launched a swift attack on the rabbit, releasing the remaining flames at the same time, locking down its movement. Soon, the hydrowater bullet rabbit was forced into a corner with nowhere to dodge. Facing my attack, it leaped into the air. But this was exactly what I wanted. Let's see how you dodge in the air. After withdrawing the flames around me back into my body, I threw out a wall of flames towards the rabbit. With a bang, the rabbit screamed and fell back to the ground. Seeing that it wasn't dead yet, I went forward with my dagger and delivered a few more blows. Hydrowater bullet rabbit slain. All attributes +2. Worthy of a level 9 monster. Killed 1. Although I gained 2 attribute points, my level didn't increase. The higher the level, the harder it is to level up. So it's common to gain experience from training and fighting monsters, but only increase attributes without increasing level. Just as I was rejoicing, I heard a sizzling sound. Turning my head, I saw a dense swarm of Hydra water bullet rabbits appearing out of nowhere. With a roar from a larger rabbit, the other rabbits seemed to receive an order and all pounced on me. CCGA, help. I turned and ran, sending a signal to Lu Sison as I went. But before I could take a few steps, I found myself surrounded. The rabbits collectively launched their acid attack. Since my flame reserves were empty, I could only huddle up, trying to use my clothes as a shield. But the acid didn't land on me, it was all blocked by a wall of ice. This familiar water element, it was CCGA, after all. Lu Sison came to my side and swung her arm. In the next second, a wave of water surged towards the rabbits. They had no time to dodge, and most were swept away by the current. With a snap of Lu Sison's fingers, the water quickly froze. Seeing this scene, I was dumbfounded. So powerful! I used all my strength just to deal with one. The remaining rabbits weren't afraid. Instead, they rushed forward even more frantically. But strangely, they didn't attack us, as if they were being attracted to something. They all crashed into the ice wall where the rabbit leader was trapped. Lu Sison noticed this and took out her long sword, killing all the remaining rabbits before safely dissolving the ice wall. After carefully searching the rabbit leader's body, she found a blue bead. The bead was completely transparent and emitted an indescribable fragrance. Lu Sison explained, "This is an enthralling pill. It's made by a certain organization to control mutated beasts. Beast Tamer Zhujia." So he's finally appeared. It is said that the enthralling pill emits a unique fragrance that only low and mid-level mutated beasts can smell. The scent lures them to eat it. Mutated beasts that consume the enthralling pill lose their minds and are ultimately forcibly tamed. But how Zhujia controls these mutated beasts is still unknown. The mutated beast riot is likely related to the enthralling pill. I'll report to headquarters. As for whether it's Zhujia's doing, until we find out, you'll just stay here with me outside the city and train. I nodded and replied, okay, unaware that a person in black was secretly watching this scene from behind a large tree. Lu Sison seemed to sense something, sending a burst of sword energy towards the tree. But after the tree fell, there was nothing there. No one? Was it my imagination? A week later, in the city lord's mansion of Mingzhu City, the Tianchang who had devoured Luo Shiyu sat in the main hall, listening to his subordinates report. Your Highness, all the Tianchang who living around the artisan street have been gathered here. Luo Shiyu nodded and looked down. I believe you all already know that humans have recently found a way to break free from mental control, causing heavy casualties to our race. In the past week, I've discovered that the majority of our slain brethren were located in the Artisan Street. You live near the Artisan Street, and are very likely to be their next target. I want you to create some commotion, make the enemy think you've discovered something and are trying to escape, thus prompting them to act prematurely. I want to see what kind of people they are. At this time, outside the city, I was still tirelessly hunting rabbit monsters day and night. After a week of hunting rabbits, I reached level 6. At the same time, I had completely mastered their attack patterns and weaknesses. First, neutralize their ranged attacks without taking damage, provoking them. Once provoked, they will cover themselves in acid for close combat. The acid can be ignited, but the burning duration is short and not fatal. But if you use the red trained snake spirit as fuel, the flames can burn continuously. After using up all the snake spirits I had collected, I checked my attribute panel and saw that my level had indeed increased by 1. Due to killing multiple enemies in a month, all attributes are additionally increased by 1 point. The contract gem has also been upgraded to level 5. I previously thought the contract gem level was synchronized with my own level, but later I discovered it's different. The contract gem is harder to upgrade. I materialized the gem, preparing to consume it, looking forward to what ability I would awaken this time. I hoped it would be combat-related. Just then, a large amount of black smoke suddenly emerged from the body of a dead rabbit. In the next second, the rabbit stood up tremblingly. Wasn't this thing already dead? I pulled out my dagger and resumed the fight. The rabbit rushed straight at me. I swung my dagger, piercing it with one strike. But unexpectedly, the rabbit transformed into black smoke and dodged. What the? Is it the rabbit's vengeful spirit? Forget it, vengeful spirit or ghost. Die. I chased after it and slashed again. This time, before the rabbit could transform into black smoke, it was hit. Its body fell stiffly to the ground. Could this bullet rabbit also have been controlled by an enthralling pill? I dubiously cut open the rabbit's belly. I did find something, but it wasn't an enthralling pill. I immediately started appraising it. After more than 10 attempts, I finally succeeded. Appraisal successful. Item: essence of a named creature, quality unknown. The power essence of the named creature black goat stored in a pill. Consuming it will lead to unexpected events. As the attributes of the essence of a named creature unfolded, a flashback related to this item appeared before my eyes. I saw a giant black goat emitting black mist. This mist transformed into huge goat horns, constantly attacking the surrounding mutated beasts. Suddenly, a giant mutated wild boar charged forward. The black goat instantly dispersed its body into mist, then recondensed above the mutated wild boar, descending with a dense cluster of goat horns. The mutated wild boar's back was instantly pierced with several large holes, but its vitality was extremely tenacious. While being attacked, it opened its mouth wide, and the black goat immediately let out a painful cry. Then, a large amount of black mist emerged from its body and surged into the mutated wild boar's mouth. Before the mutated wild boar could spit out what was in its mouth, its body exploded from the black mist, killing them both. The flashback ended, and I stared at the black bead, lost in thought. To eat or not to eat? I had a hunch that if I ate this bead, I would most likely gain the nether mist ability. But the problem was, knowing that this thing was the black goat's, well, made me hesitate. Past scenes flashed through my mind, the life-or-death situation in the school when the Tianchonghu inspected the rooms, the despair I felt when facing the Tianchonghu's attack in the Black Chamber and at the patrol headquarters. Seeing the Tianchonghu who killed Su Jingyao standing right in front of me, while I had to force a smile and engage in false pleasantries. Did I, weak as an ant, have the right to be picky? Scoffing at myself, I swallowed the black bead without hesitation. In the next second, a sharp pain shot through my body. I clutched my stomach, collapsing to the ground and curling up in a ball. I vaguely felt something rapidly rushing from my stomach to my brain, but then I seemed to hear a shrill scream. The scream was fleeting, like an auditory hallucination. I gritted my teeth, trying not to make a sound. The image of Su Jingyao being killed replayed in my mind. Zhang Ping, promise me, no matter what setbacks you encounter, you must live on. Su Jingyao, don't worry. Before I kill all these foxes, I will definitely not die. After about 5 minutes, the pain gradually subsided. I lay paralyzed on the ground, too exhausted to move. Black mist seeped out of my body, like a thin veil. After a while, I finally used appraisal on myself. Appraisal successful. Named creature, nether mist, absorbs the fear of living beings and converts it into controllable named creatures. For every point of named creature reserves consumed, a tangible named creature with 10% of the current level's attack power and 10% health can be generated, up to a maximum of 1000%. I was very satisfied with this new talent. It was combat-oriented and offered both offense and defense. I just didn't know how powerful it was. It seemed to be related to the amount of named creature reserves consumed. I closed my eyes and smiled silently, but as I smiled, tears started to flow. The image of Su Jingyao's death made my teeth clench in hatred, but now, I finally had the power to avenge him. Just then, a few villagers noticed me. "Young man, are you all right?" I slowly stood up, telling them I was fine. I must have looked scary, covered in black mist. A ghost. The villagers screamed and fled without looking back. Named creature reserves, 23, 30, 35. Does this mean I can absorb other people's fear and convert it into named creatures? This named creature didn't feel like a real object, not even energy, but its form could change according to my will. I just didn't know how powerful it was. I tried the minimum damage first. I manipulated a wisp of named creature into a dagger and then flicked my wrist towards a nearby tree. In an instant, the tree was cut in half, revealing a smooth cut. It's this strong with just 1 point of named creature reserve? Interesting, truly interesting. It can cut and block attacks. This named creature has many uses. If used properly, the named creature limbs will be my strongest trump card against high-level mutated beasts. Just as I marveled at the power of the named creature, Lu Sison suddenly rushed over from a distance. "Zhang Ping, did you encounter a named creature mutated beast? Where is it?" I sensed something from Lu Sison's wary attitude and told her what had happened. After listening to my story, Lu Sison was silent for a moment, then looked up at me and scolded. "What? You ate the essence of a named creature? Are you tired of living? How dare you eat something of unknown origin? Do you know you almost died?" I smiled faintly and replied, "It shouldn't be that serious. I checked it with appraisal. It's fine. If there really was a problem, I could order myself to vomit it out. Lu Sison said sternly, how can you be sure you could vomit it out? Named creature mutated beasts are creatures of unknown origin. They have no concrete form and usually inhabit the bodies of other creatures, like parasites. That black goat and the bullet rabbit were likely puppets of the named creature mutated beast. But after the puppet host dies, they will burrow into an organ of the host and wait for the next host. The main point is that the named exotic beast can control those it infects. Hearing this, my mind raced. I suddenly remembered the faint screams I heard during the intense abdominal pain. Was that the named exotic beast trying to parasitize me? Since I'm fine, does that mean the parasitism failed? Lu Sison shook her head, replying, I don't know. You're special. Perhaps there's another monster residing within you that eliminated the named exotic beast. Or maybe because you have absolute control over yourself, even if parasitized, you remain unaffected. However, if you undergo any strange transformations, I'll have no choice but to eliminate you. As soon as she finished speaking, a spider suddenly landed between us. Lu Sison was startled and frantically swung the longsword in her hand. A spider. Such a huge spider. Get it away. Quick. She yelled and jumped into my arms. Seeing her panic, my heart warmed. She's still afraid of insects, just like when we were kids. Cece, look what I caught. When I was young, I liked to catch insects, and she was terrified of them. The friend I caught was scared away by you. Seeing my dejected expression, she looked puzzled. Silly boy, there are so many other children at the orphanage who can be your friends. Why do you catch bugs to be your friends? I sighed. But they will all leave the orphanage someday. What will I do then? Hearing this, she smiled and comforted me. Cece promises you, no matter what happens in the future, I'll always be your good friend. Really? No lying, let's pinky promise. At this point, Lu Sison, who was holding me, came back to her senses. She hurriedly pushed me away and solemnly instructed, Zhang Ping, in the wilderness, any unidentified object carries unknown risks. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Although you may have escaped this time by luck, in the future, when faced with similar objects, you must not let your guard down. Remember this well. Hearing her words, I smiled and nodded. I thought Cece had become aloof and distant after joining the Purge Squad, but now it seems she hasn't changed at all. She still cares for me just like before, just unwilling to express it. Just then, Lu Sition's communicator rang. After answering, a serious expression appeared on her face. My investigation and your special training must be temporarily suspended. We need to return to Pearl City immediately. Group leader Jinbo was seriously injured in an attack by the Tianchang Lake creatures. I must return to the city to assist. What? Even she was injured? Why don't we ask the out-of-city investigation team or other external forces for support? Lu Sison shook her head at my question. That would only alert the enemy, and the world outside the city is quite complicated. I'll explain on the way. On the way, she told me about the situation outside the city. She said that mutated beasts started running rampant one day, forcing the surviving humans to build walls to protect themselves. Due to blocked transportation, the city relies solely on the investigation team and Civilian Awakened to map the surrounding areas. According to the investigation team's intelligence, there are villages and wild people in areas near Pearl City with fewer mutated beasts, and further out is a vast sea. Due to the presence of apex-level mutated beasts in the sea, further exploration has been halted, and it is unknown if other cities exist. What's on the other side of the sea? With this question in mind, I followed Lu Sison into Pearl City. Members of the investigation team came up to explain the current situation. These past few days, we've been using the Phantom Light Canopy to monitor the entire Pearl City, and we haven't detected any unusual activity from the Tianchang Lake creatures. Until last night, the Tianchang Lake creatures from the Craftsman District swarmed out. We went to confront them, but unexpectedly, the trap soldiers were also there. Group leader Jinbo was seriously injured while covering our retreat. The captain's orders are for you to temporarily assume Group Leader Jin's responsibilities and lead the defense of Pearl City. Lu Sison nodded after listening. I stepped forward and asked if I could help. She replied, no need. You go back to the Iron Soul Forge. I'll come find you when I have time. All right. I hope both Brother Jinbo and Cece will be safe. I then turned and walked towards the blacksmith shop. Finally, I could relax. These past few days in the wilderness were exhausting. But halfway there, I suddenly sensed something was wrong. Looking at a nearby stall, I saw that the people who were buying and selling had suddenly frozen. I abruptly turned to the front and saw an old man with snow-white hair, but a surprisingly wrinkle-free face standing there, hands clasped behind his back, smiling. I cautiously activated appraisal, and after more than 60 attempts, it finally succeeded, but the result indicated that the target was using a hidden identity talent, making it impossible to see any information. The old man's eyes seemed to see right through me. He chuckled and quipped, "Stop appraising. I have the ability to block appraisal. Even if you appraise me 1,000,000 times, you won't get any results." Hearing this, I immediately confirmed the old man's identity. I had heard his voice through the Wind Whisperer before. It was the captain of the Purge Squad, Situ Shirbai. "Sir, do you need something from me?" Although Situ Shirbai looked peaceful, the aura he exuded was chilling. He smiled slightly and said, "Play with me for a bit. Let me see your potential." I immediately took out my dagger and charged at him. But just as my attack was about to land, the air in front of me rippled like a mirror, and in the next second, Situ Shirbai vanished. A spatial skill, he teleported behind me. Reacting quickly, I threw a punch directly backward. Before my attack got close, it was blocked by Situ Shirbai's single palm. He said with a smile, "Your speed needs improvement." "Oh, really?" I muttered as I discreetly put my right hand behind my back, a ball of flame condensing in my palm. Then, while he was distracted, I grabbed his arm. I thought the scorching flames would spread up his arm and ignite his body, but unexpectedly, Situ Shirbai's body turned ethereal. "You've been attacking for a while now. It's my turn." Situ Shirbai's ethereal clone gradually dissipated. As I saw his real body, he launched his attack. With a whoosh, a barrage of ice projectiles, the same as Cece's, shot towards me. I frantically ordered my body to dodge left and right. How many skills does he have? He's a monster. With my current speed, it's impossible to dodge them all. Helplessly, I had to use my trump card skill, Named Object. I first consumed 5 named object points to transform into a shield to block the ice projectiles. After the barrage ended, I consumed more named object points to launch a ranged slash attack. Simultaneously, my speed increased to the extreme as I flashed to Situ Shirbai's side. Situ Shirbai smiled faintly. "A bit clever, but your strength is still lacking." Then, as I watched in astonishment, a powerful psychic force erupted from his body. Before I could get close, I was blasted away by this force. It felt as if hundreds of pounds of boulders were pressing down on me, preventing me from moving. However, having this level of strength at your rank is commendable. Let's chat. After he said that, he withdrew the psychic force. After a moment of silence, I cautiously approached and asked, "How should I address you?" This question was a test to see if he knew I had learned about the Purge Squad's secrets through the Wind Whisperer. Situ Shirbai waved his hand dismissively. "You already know my name. Call me whatever you like." It seems the Purge Squad has thoroughly investigated me. But what was Situ Shirbai's purpose in meeting me like this? Before I could ask, Situ Shirbai took a sip of tea and said with a faint smile, "Zhang Ping, it's best not to think too much before you can block others from reading your mind." After a pause, he continued, "Pearl City hasn't seen an unlimited level awakened in 200 years after me. So, of course I had to come and see." I was stunned. "You mean? I'm unlimited level? What's unlimited level? Isn't the highest level in talent for humans Apex?" Situ Shirbai explained with a smile, "Unlimited level removes the limit on the number of talents and allows for the continuous awakening of new talents. There's something I'm very curious about. Can my unlimited level talent, Path of the Extraordinary, copy your unlimited level talent, Contract Treasure? Of course, I won't take advantage of you. Regardless of the outcome, I'll give you a gift as thanks and answer all your questions." I asked cautiously, "Can I refuse?" Situ Shirbai nodded and smiled. "Of course. But why not look at my offer first? This bracelet is called the Golden Treasury. It's a piece of equipment I used frequently in my early years. It contains a skill storage. You understand what that means, right?" My eyes lit up. "Mr. Situ, you're too generous. Storage space was exactly what I needed." Situ Shirbai nodded, gesturing for me to extend my hand. I didn't hesitate and placed my hand over his. After a moment, he released me inside. "It's over. I can't copy your ability, not even the derived abilities. It seems your ability is quite special. All abilities have the potential to become unlimited level. All right, it's yours now." He handed me the bracelet. I quickly thanked him and activated appraisal. Appraisal successful. In the playback, a woman was bound, and then molten gold was poured over her body. Several awakened stood around her, activating their abilities simultaneously. Gradually, the woman's body burst into flames, incinerating the gold into smoke. After the smoke dissipated, only the bracelet remained. The playback ended. My face paled after watching. This was too cruel. After calming down, I looked at Situ Shirbai and couldn't help but ask, Mr. Situ, is the process of making special equipment always this cruel? Situ Shirbai explained, 200 years ago, it was mostly like this. Later, after hundreds of reforms and regulations in Pearl City, this kind of human sacrifice method was gradually banned. Only condemned criminals would be treated this way. 200 years ago, I suddenly realized something. The things taught in school about the period 200 years ago were indeed scarce. Mr. Situ, what was Pearl City like 200 years ago? Was it all this barbaric? Situ Shirbai looked at the bracelet on my wrist and replied, yes. 200 years ago, Pearl City wasn't called Pearl City. Back then, it was called Zhu City, ruled by the Yushoshu family. Everyone in Zhu City was their slave. No one had a future, no hope. Men toiled day and night, receiving only scraps of food. Women with any beauty were taken as servants, becoming playthings for the spoiled children of the Zhu family. Children were raised collectively, indoctrinated day and night with loyalty to the Zhu family. The elderly who couldn't work were fed to the mutated beasts. Back then, if someone became awakened, they were either enslaved or used as materials for crafting equipment. Because of this, some determined individuals secretly gathered their strength and finally overthrew the Zhu family's rule. Listening to this, I could imagine the situation back then. Perhaps awakened people were even worse off than they are now. I see. Situ Shirbai sighed. Any other questions? Mr. Situ, you're so powerful. Why don't you deal with Yuangzi and liberate this city again? Hearing this question, Situ Shirbai shook his head. It's not that I won't, but that I can't. You might mistakenly think that Pearl City's defenses are weak, unable to even detect the Tianchang Lake invasion. But that's wrong. Pearl City's defense system is actually quite perfect. Not only does the investigation team investigate and expel newly appearing mutated beasts outside the city, but the patrol team also regularly clears out threatening mutated beasts. And within the city, we have the king-level artifact, the Sun and Moon Pearl, which suppresses all foreign races. Within the Sun and Moon Pearl's domain, all creatures are reduced to level 40 or below. This means even if king-level mutated beasts invade, they will be downgraded to apex level. And I am undoubtedly the strongest among the apex level. But now, I seem to realize something and quickly asked, Elderbai, are you saying there's a traitor in the city? Situ Shirbai corrected, no, ever since the Zhu family's rule was overthrown, only the remnants of the beast-taming Zhu family, besides the city lord and myself, know how to control the artifact. I clenched my fists, recalling the scenes I had witnessed. Su Jingyao's bloody, skinned face, the girl torn apart by Yuangzi, the hands and feet gnawed on by the Tianchang Lake creatures. The beast-taming Zhu family deactivated the Sun and Moon Pearl and let the Tianchang Lake creatures in. The recent gathering and rampaging of mutated beasts are also related to them. Why weren't these scum completely eradicated in the first place? Situ Shirbai smiled wryly. The Zhu family has been operating in Pearl City for hundreds of years. Their influence is unfathomable. Moreover, when their rule was overthrown, Pearl City was in chaos. Many people who had been brainwashed from childhood even harbored immense hatred towards us. Under such circumstances, there was little we could do. This Tianchang Lake invasion has too many suspicious points. Why didn't the Sun and Moon Pearl take effect? Is the city lord dead or alive? What is the beast-taming Zhu family's objective? What abilities does the Tianchang Lake King possess? These questions needed answers before Situ Shirbai could act. He had to be cautious, lest he fall into the enemy's trap. If Situ Shirbai died, Pearl City would truly be doomed. After calming down, I realized the importance of Situ Shirbai. He couldn't act rashly now, even with Yuangzi's constant provocations and killings. Anyone could be impulsive except Situ Shirbai. At this time, Situ Shirbai turned to me and said, although I can't copy your ability, we need you, young Zhangping. Are you willing to join the Purge Squad? I answered without hesitation, I am willing. Meanwhile, at the Iron Soul Forge, Wang Jimin asked worriedly, it's been several days. I wonder when Zhangping will return. Xiao Qiangjie teased. What? Missing him already? No wonder you've been absent-minded these past few days. Wang Jimin blushed and quickly turned her head. No, it's just, there's no one to guide my fish training these days, so And you're also worried about him, right? Wondering how he is outside the city, if he's encountered any danger. Qiu Qiangzhui grinned and leaned closer, continuing to tease. Look at you, acting like a little wife. Still saying you don't miss him every day. Wang Jimin, flushed, explained shyly. I don't. All right. I won't tease you anymore. Sister Qiu Chang talked as she cooled a newly forged weapon. Actually, the villages outside the city and the dangerous areas touched by the mutated infected have been marked. As long as Zhang Ping doesn't intrude into those places, it's basically safe. Wang Jimin was very curious. It was the first time he had heard that there were villages outside Mingzhu City. Sister Qiu Chang chuckled. Of course there are. Those villages are often closed off, backward, and xenophobic. Many even worship the mutated infected as gods. If you encounter a village while traveling in the wilderness, it's best to avoid it. Otherwise, if they catch you, you are likely to become a slave or a sacrifice. Wang Jimin asked in disbelief. Everyone is human. Shouldn't we be able to communicate? Sister Qiu Chang shook her head. They can't be considered human at all. The most dangerous things in the wild are not the mutated infected, but these savages. Some of them like to wear strange masks and appear silently behind you. Just as she said this, Wang Jimin suddenly noticed a terrifying black shadow floating in from the door. Sister Chang, look. Is it like that? Sister Qiu Chang turned around doubtfully and saw a clawing black shadow pouncing towards them. Seeing their panicked expressions, I, disguised as the black shadow, felt quite pleased with myself. However, I didn't expect that after Sister Qiu Chang reacted, she would greet my crotch with a devastating kick. The next second, a cracking sound rang out, and I felt as if the whole world had lost its color. Sweating profusely, I forced myself to stay calm and said in a mournful voice, Sister Chang, that move was too much. Because I hadn't removed my disguise, she didn't recognize me. Sister Qiu Chang asked warily, Who are you? I grinned and withdrew the black mist, explaining, It's me, Zhang Ping. Both of them were instantly speechless. You brat. You didn't even tell us you were back and tried to scare us with this trickery. Seeing that I was about to get beaten again, I quickly said, I just arrived and heard you talking about the savage tribes, so I wanted to add to the atmosphere. I didn't expect you to kick me as soon as you turned around. Learning that I wouldn't be leaving the city again soon, Sister Qiu Chang picked up her coat and went out. Perfect timing. I found a clue about Shan Shan today, and I'm also preparing to leave the city. I'll leave Uncle Lu in your care. Someone is lovesick waiting for you every day, so I won't disturb you. Hearing this, Wang Jimin blushed again, covered his face, and ran to the door. Well, it's getting late. I'm going back to my room to rest. By the way, Zhang Ping, it's good to have you back. After saying this, he left without looking back. Looking at his back, a wave of warmth rose in my heart. After so long, it was the first time I felt like I was home. Just then, Uncle Lu's voice suddenly reached my ears. Everyone has gone to their rooms. What are you still grinning about here? Go find Qiu Chang tomorrow morning and tell her I'm seriously ill and ask her not to leave the city. I hurriedly asked, Uncle Lu, what's wrong? Is it serious? He knocked his pipe and explained, There's nothing wrong with me, it's all an act. My daughter Shan Shan has been missing for so long, and she's most likely met with misfortune. Qiu Chang has been taking care of me this whole time. She wants to investigate Shan Shan's whereabouts, but I don't want her to risk herself anymore. I'm worried that something will happen to her too, so I'm pretending to be sick so she doesn't have time to go on this adventure. That girl Qiu Chang is loyal, and once she has something weighing on her mind, she'll think twice and won't take risks easily. Hearing this, I understood Uncle Lu's good intentions. You've worked so hard, Uncle Lu. Uncle Lu puffed on his pipe and said, You have a talent for forging, but Xiao Chang isn't very good at teaching, and she isn't particularly focused on forging, so there are some gaps in her knowledge. In the next few days, I'll teach you the true Humian forging technique. Although this craft of mine isn't a top secret, it's a unique skill of the Lu family. You have to learn it diligently. I nodded firmly with a joyful expression. Yes, I will definitely live up to your expectations, Uncle Lu. Soon, it was late at night. While I was fast asleep, I vaguely heard a familiar voice, Zhang Ping, it's me. Keep going. I'm waiting for you. I woke up with a start and sat up in bed because I recognized the voice. It was Su Jingjiao, who was already dead. Sister Qiu Chang, as Uncle Lu wished, didn't leave the city. Uncle Lu also secretly taught me the real Humian forging technique. I used the forging technique on named items, allowing them to take on more precise forms, which in a sense also made them stronger. Wang Jimin successfully mastered the first 30 Yuanwang stones. And that night, I was certain I heard Su Jingyao's voice. This feeling of déjà vu prompted me to seek verification that night. Captain, are there any Tianchanggu disguised near the blacksmith shop? I heard it very clearly. Soon, Situ Shirbai replied that he had already cleared the area where I was currently active, and there couldn't be any Tianchanggu. But if it wasn't a Fengyu user, what could it be? I considered another possibility. Could Su Jingyao still be alive in some other form? For revenge and to find answers, I would tear off Tianchanggu's mask with my own hands. 3 days later, under the moonlight, a man stealthily entered the Su family's residence. He licked his lips, revealing a lewd smile. Sleeping so soundly, it seems my plan will work tonight. I've heard that Miss Su is voluptuous and stunningly beautiful. Tonight, I'll have a taste and see if the rumors are true. He closed his eyes and sniffed the air, then his expression turned excited. He had caught Miss Su's scent. It was indeed fragrant and alluring. However, just as he was about to take the next step, my voice suddenly reached his ears. Zhang Xiaofan, nicknamed Shorty Teddy, 5 feet tall, with an despicable appearance, disliked by women, gradually becoming twisted and perverted, harming hundreds of women in the past 10 years, killing and silencing 65. Am I wrong? I hid in the black mist, looking down at the disgusting rapist before me. Zhang Xiaofan's hair stood on end. He panicked and asked who I was. I sneered. Someone sent to take your life. In fact, that morning, through the Fengyu users, I overheard Zhang Xiaofan talking to himself while scouting the Su residence, so I kept it in mind and came here specifically to end his reign of terror. Zhang Xiaofan felt a chill run down his spine and fled towards the outside. However, just as he reached the courtyard, I pierced his calf with a spike conjured from the black mist. He turned around, only to see the rolling black mist churning and slowly approaching him. In his terror, a golden liquid began to flow from his crotch, and he collapsed to the ground, unconscious. I was a bit speechless. I thought serial killers were supposed to be tough, but he fainted just like that. I then removed his mask and checked his information. Identification successful. Zhang Xiaofan, level 13, talent, pharmaceutical mastery, able to analyze whether items have medicinal properties and utilize them to concoct medicines. Peach Blossom Mask, the mask worn by Zhang Xiaofan when committing crimes. Awakened such a good ability, yet used it for evil. What a disgrace. After cursing him, I used the mask to view the playback and saw countless infuriating scenes. I saw a weak mother lying on the ground, crying and begging Zhang Xiaofan to spare her daughter. Zhang Xiaofan simply kicked her. Still being disobedient after taking my medicine? Blame your husband. If he hadn't died so early, I wouldn't have targeted you too. A patrol team member, always talking about swearing to defend Mingzhu City to the death. Look, he's really dead now. How ridiculous. But I should thank him for leaving you two to me. He grabbed the girl beside him and began to assault her. Don't worry, after I'm done playing with you, I'll send you to see him. You're all my playthings. This was just one of the many tragic scenes. Countless girls had been harmed by Zhang Xiaofan. While I was watching the playback, he, pretending to be unconscious, suddenly threw a handful of powder at me and shouted triumphantly, "This powder is enough to knock out a large mutated beast. After you fall asleep, I'll torture you properly." I snorted coldly and crushed the mask in my hand. Protected by the black mist, the drug had no effect on me. With a flick of my wrist, a slash appeared on his chest. You deserve to die, but I won't let you die so easily. This slash is for the mother who protected her daughter with her life. This slash is for the unyielding girl. This slash is to commemorate the hero of the patrol team. This slash is to mourn the righteous detective. This slash is to remember the nameless awakened. Slash after slash, Zhang Xiaofan's height shrunk from 5 feet to 3, leaving a trail of blood and body parts on the ground. He no longer had the strength to run. He lay on the ground, waiting for death, but the final blow never came. I stood beside Zhang Xiaofan, my voice hollow. I won't kill you. There are many medicines in this world, and your injuries might not be incurable. I'll give you a chance. If you can get out of that door, I'll spare your life. I didn't want him to die too easily. He didn't deserve such an easy death. Zhang Xiaofan, the despair you brought to these people, I will return it to you tenfold. Remember, this is your last chance. I pointed to the door beside him. As expected, the light of hope reappeared in Zhang Xiaofan's eyes. He didn't want to die. There were still countless young and beautiful women waiting for him. How could he die in such a place? After I recover, I'll make you pay. I'll skin you alive and tear you apart. He gritted his teeth and continued to crawl forward, driven by a strong desire to survive. This time, the terrifying Grim Reaper didn't attack him again. Yes, he could survive. He slowly crawled towards the door. The short distance felt incredibly long, as if a century had passed. Finally, he reached the door. As he reached out with his bloodied hand to push it open, he noticed the bolt. The bolt was about 3 feet above the ground, but his legs were practically gone. He couldn't reach it. No. He pounded on the door desperately, but it wouldn't budge. I walked up behind him and sneered, "Can't open the door? I gave you a chance, but you're useless. Zhang Xiaofan, you failed. Therefore, I hereby pronounce your death sentence." With that, I conjured a blade and pierced his heart. After dealing with him, I prepared to leave with mixed feelings. But just then, I suddenly heard Xia Ye's voice through the Fingyu user's ability. "Are you sure? At the Hahai Academy? Today's a special day. Find an opportunity, take her away." After hearing this, I immediately reported it to Situ Shirbai. "There's something happening at Hahai Academy. They seem to be planning to forcibly take someone away." Situ Shirbai thought for a moment and then gave the order. "Zhang Ping, you go there first and investigate the situation. I'll contact Lu Sison immediately. Reinforcements will arrive later. Don't act rashly." I responded and immediately set off. Soon, inside Hahai Academy, several mysterious people in Dokong attire sneaked in. The man in the lead frowned angrily and said, "Damn it, we've been searching for 15 minutes. Where did Shin Shueli hide that bitch? Hurry up, we're running out of time. We have to find her no matter what." I had arrived outside Hahai Academy. In the courtyard, there was a stone pillar with a dragon statue coiled around it. The statue was covered with strange red runes. I immediately used identification on the stone pillar. After failing 10 times, I finally succeeded. Zhenlong Stone, East, Quality, Epic. For Zhenlong stones placed in their corresponding positions can form the Zhenlong Dojie breaking formation, which can cover and break most dojis. The next moment, I saw the scene of the Zhenlong stone being created. Rotating stone grinders, screaming awakened, blood dripping down, flowing through a funnel-shaped device, eventually turning into a black liquid. This black liquid merged into the Zhenlong stone, and the eyes of the black dragon coiled on the stone gradually lit up, turning blood red. My face darkened after seeing this. As expected, the creation process of most special equipment and items was incredibly evil, bloody, and inhumane. The 3 people inside were clearly not from the 3 major organizations. Could they be remnants of the Zhu family?